Well, hi YouTubers, okay, and back with the 365 100 books, and I read this in a night. It's the Faber book of modern fairy tales, and it's quite interesting what constitutes modern. Now, this was bought about 2 years ago when I was doing a fairy short story thing as part of my degree, and so yes, I bought this off Amazon, and modern, my god, modern. This book was published in 1981, so yeah, so a book over 30 years old, modern. Now, I was really quite disappointed by this because I thought from the cover it'd be Iron Man. Now, Iron Man is in this. It's the first 3 chapters, and Iron Man is basically a novella. So I thought, but it's been modern day fairy stories, updated fairy stories, contemporary, taking the fairy story structure, if you want, and put it in a more contemporary setting. And I love that idea because, especially written in the obviously late 70s to early 80s, you've got a different kind of social dynamic going on. It was a kind of burgeoning time for like various kind of social movements, and fairy tales are often social commentaries of what's going on at the time. So, hey, I love updated versions of stories. Shameless plug here, I actually wrote and updated, it's on Amazon, updated Christmas Carol with a female Scrooge character who is mourning the death of her wife and essentially tells the spirits of past, present and future to go fuck themselves. But anyway, nice neither here nor there. Okay, so I love updated versions of fairy stories. End of the day, everything's in the canon, nothing's sacred. This I was so disappointed with. Honestly, if I'd read this as a little one, oh god. Apart from Iron Man, virtually everything in it is a fairy story. It is a stereotypical fairy story with princesses and princes and goblins and queens and characters who have no names. Honestly. There's one here, okay, called A Squirrel Wife, okay, about this guy called Jack. Now, Jack, I love this, okay, Jack essentially meets like the elf king, if you will, okay, and then has to put a gold ring on a squirrel, and then that squirrel becomes his wife. It's a kind of a squirrel hybrid, if you will. Hey, did the squirrel even consent to this? Who cares about the squirrel's feelings? Okay, squirrel becomes a human ish, okay. Jack and squirrel wife. She's actually called a squirrel wife. She has no bloody name. I'm like, you're married to this woman, okay, give her a name. Hey, she's a squirrel, call her Hazel, okay. Ask her, hey, by the way, what's your name? You know, no, never does that. So no, him and a squirrel wife, and then there's an issue with his brother who's essentially going angry about Jack's newfound fortune and his newfound wife. I spread his rumours that Jack's a witch and it's all evil dark magic, and at the end of it, squirrel wife, I love this. Let me just find a bit, okay? Right. Right, here we go. There's a bit where Jack has to make a choice. Do you take the squirrel wife, or do you take your wife? Does the wife become a squirrel again? Now, most people would have said, maybe this is quite ballsy, or the author, who is Philippa Pierce, okay? But here we go. I didn't ask for the ring or the bracelet again, Jack said, but I want my squirrel wife. The Lord of the Green People shook his head. No, Jack, we cannot give you your squirrel wife a second time. But this we will do for you. You can either have the squirrel on your shoulder or your wife by your side, which you must decide. Jack was bewildered by these words and hesitated. Then he said, Sir, a man wants a wife by his side. I choose my wife. Okay? And then squirrel wife, okay, is now less independent. She is dependent more on Jack, who's kind of literally lost her voice. She says, Dear Jack, I fear the forest. I don't know how I could ever wish to live here. I have one thing to beg of you. When we get home, let us gather the herd of pigs and all your tools and the household goods, and let us take them out of the forest and settle in the village. We must live like other people, because now I am like other women. Looking into her eyes, Jack could no longer see that strange watchfulness that had made her seem like a wild creature. It had vanished altogether. That he knew that she was no longer partly squirrel and partly wife. A squirrel wife. She was all woman now, according to the choice he had made, before the Lord of the Green People. So basically, Jack, the poor squirrel wife, not named squirrel wife, has been subjugated, okay, had her identity stripped from her, been made passive and domesticated and domicile. And I'm like, welcome to this is 1981 in fiction, okay? This is 1981. They're pretty much all the same at these stories, okay? Women need to be rescued. Men are the saviours and the victims. And honestly, this is eye-rolling. There's one called A Good Little Girl by F. Ossie, which is quite sweet because the character in it, Priscilla, is such a hypocrite, which I thought was quite clever. Okay, and she's done that thing, okay, where she's cursed, where or blessed, where every time she speaks, jewels come out of her mouth, kind of thing. But due to the fact, okay, she's actually quite a nasty person and very obnoxious and judgmental. All the jewels are fake. Quite clever. The only real standout story, though, okay, was called. Let's find it. Then I had a post-it note here. The Prince and the Goose Girl, okay, by Eleanor Mordaunt, because she takes zero shit from him. Essentially, there was this big and really big, fierce knight prince, and he can rip people apart, and he's meant to be a giant, and everyone's scared of him. And the illustrations, you can see that. That's what he looks like in the illustrations. Dude, it's like a guy on a horse, okay? I don't get why everyone's so scared of this guy. But she takes no shit from him. He kind of falls for her. She humiliates him all the time. She stands up to him, takes no crap. Essentially, he destroys her property. She just sorts it out, does some alternatives. At one point, she cuts off all her hair to spite him. No, she cuts off all her hair to kind of wove it into like scarves, and then becomes more rich. And yeah, I kind of like that because this story, The Prince and the Goose Girl, was what this book needed to be. Feisty heroines and you know, stand-up characters, not just the women, the men as well. There seems to be so much passivity as well going on between these characters, and it was so jarring. However, it's 13 stories in this, and I do kind of, not say I don't recommend it, okay, read it if you want, put links to it, but as a social commentary of what was written, of what was out for individuals in the 1980s, especially the early 1980s, it's a really good example, okay? So, but hey, it's one of these where I'm glad that books aren't as stereotypical as they are now, okay? Because this is way too passive for me. Okay, so, first book of the Physics 100 for 2018 is done. It's done for YouTubers. Goodbye now.